Frag out!
How you doing, everyone? I'm doing fan-fucking-tastic. How is it that doing this 6 years in development, 4 months before launch, how is this acceptable? Just about less than an hour ago, about 30 minutes ago, 343 came out with a brand new video doing their August update for Halo Infinite. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, and the reason why we're live right now instead of me recording a video is because I'm going to do this live. I'm going to send this to my editor and I'm going to get this up as a video as soon as possible because I want people to be aware to don't buy the $60 retail release of a Halo Infinite. We're going to go through the whole video. It's 28 minutes long, but we're going to go through it. I'm going to give you my opinions and everything else, and we're going to go from there. If you thought Halo 5's backlash was bad for not having split screen co-op, having no co-op at launch and delaying it for 3 months is why?
Today we're going to be talking about the recent tech preview with a live producer, Sam Hanshaw, and then we're going to be jumping on board with Sketch and Joseph Staten to hear more about the road to launch. Before we dive into it though, I want to preface that we won't have any new gameplay, but we will have a ton of good information to talk about.
You can say that again, except tons of information minus the good. Yeah, no, I've got actually 2 notes of good, but that's where the dollar stops.
One of the things that was pretty painful for everyone was we had like a misconfiguration in how the EXE was running, and that was resulting in about a 20% performance drop.
I was trying to read the comment that Haslab just made, and this is why I'm glad that I've got this edited. So basically, he admitted that there was an issue with the EXE file causing a 20% dip in performance, and there was also issues with 900 series graphics cards. This is supposedly going to be addressed. That's good news. Okay, that's good. You noticed the problem, you rectified it. Great. We're gonna see better performance across the board because yeah, there was a major issue with frame rate in the flight.
Getting into matches was a bit of a struggle. So match loading had some inconsistencies. Some folks would drop out of matchmaking every now and again. Some folks dropped out consistently. And while that did cause a lot of pain for folks, it also helped us get a lot of data so that we could address those issues. And going back to the main dev branch, we've had folks working on it, and now people are getting into matches super consistently.
Okay, could we get like maybe a B-roll transition? Maybe? Could we see a transition? This isn't a live stream or anything like this. Could we see like maybe a B-roll transition of some footage of how super consistently and quickly people are getting into matches? We're talking about like honesty and honest conversations, right? That's what Joseph Staten tweeted about 10 minutes ago. Can we get some comparisons, some timestamps?
And we also have a new loading screen, I heard, right?
Cool. New loading screen. Again, it was a flight. It was a test. I'm glad to hear that we aren't going to just be looking at a black screen the entire time.
Yeah, that's true. There's nothing worse than getting kicked out of matchmaking, except getting kicked out of matchmaking when all you've had to look at is a black screen with 3 dots. So now we got some nice new loading screens for people to look at that they should be seeing for a lot less time.
It doesn't, it doesn't get shown in this video at all.
The boss and the weapon drills are 2 key pieces of our new player onboarding. And so having players experience that for the first time in our first kind of public flight like this was really important, because we get that initial feedback of what it's like to pick up this game and learn it through the weapon drills and through bot play.
Okay, now here's the issue I'm running into, because now after we get the news later on in the video of what we're going to see here shortly, it is really hard for me to trust any kind of anything they're saying here. I mean it. It's really hard for me to believe that that's the true reasoning. Is it because of the situation of we want to test them, or is it because things aren't ready? What is the truth? Because now we're starting to see the truth come out, and I gotta say this. I love how later on in this video, they put Sketch and Joseph Staten just on the chopping block to take the brunt of the fire. Unishek and this other guy, their segment is clean as a whistle. Theirs is nothing but good news and information about the flight and what we experienced. Then we get to the hard notes later on.
Up next, we also had a few people talk about the Halo support site kind of closing down at the very end of the flight, right as we cut off the flight, we also closed off the Halo support site.
This, they admittedly say, was a major mistake, and I agree, because a lot of players wanted to play as much Halo as possible, take notes, take clips, and so on and so forth, whether that was leaving notes on the side in a Google Keep document or a Google Doc, or on a notepad, and then at the end start filing out ticket after ticket after ticket. But as soon as the flight went down, the support site went offline. Major mistake. I understand that they want people to file tickets while people are playing, but there were people that were on there consistently nonstop, including myself. I was on there for almost the entire time because I was doing a 24-hour live stream at the time.
So looking ahead on the road to launch, what do we have next for flighting?
You can definitely expect another big scale flight like this with even more people invited.
Okay.
We're gonna include the same content that we had this time, the bots and the weapon drills, but we're also targeting a full release of 4v4 PvP act.
Okay, so 4v4 PvP will be in the next flight. No date on the next flight, but we can expect that. And
we want to go even bigger and have big team battle. So those are our targets for the next flight to come.
See, when I heard this, hey, we're getting ready for our next flight, and to let you know, there's going to be big team battle coming up and PvP, I was like, okay, we're making progress. Like, I felt good at this point in the video when I was watching this.
This success is yours, and this is the beginning of our conversation with you, and we couldn't be happier.
Oh yeah, it's the beginning of the conversation. I'm gonna say that. We're just getting started.
I want to point out though, 12 years later, I'm getting a very similar vibe from another recent meme our community created. I just want to give you a chance to check this out. I think you might have been the inspiration.
See, okay, I'm not gonna lie, that was funny. That was funny that they're making fun of their own face detection thing. That's funny. Ha ha ha.
Fair's fair. I'm not the only one with 2009 archival footage sitting around, so let's take a little peek at that.
Okay, yeah, they took a shot at him, and he's about to point something out that I actually didn't realize, but here.
Hey, and if I'm not mistaken, is that the same coat in that photo?
It is.
It's the same fucking jacket. I mean, I've got shirts that I hold on to for a long time because they have sentimental value. Did he go to the war with this jacket? What the fuck? This shot too. This shot of his face, just a perfect screenshot. I need to screenshot this. This is a meme right here. Oh my god, this is going on the thumbnail for this video. This is going on the thumbnail for this video. Oh, I just got ideas. Oh, I love it. I like how they're trying to go haha before they get fucking serious and have to actually say the bad news. I wonder if Phil Spencer is standing behind the camera with a machine gun just revved up and ready to roll if they try and run.
And we just want to reassure people that although we didn't have split screen multiplayer in the tech preview, we will absolutely be shipping that day one for launch on all Xbox family devices.
Okay, for context there, he's talking about split screen multiplayer. This will be there at launch for all Xbox consoles, and he's about to say not PC because of issues. Okay, that's frustrating, but at least it's there. And this is where I was like, okay, good. Okay, split screen. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there for multiplayer. It's gonna be there for multiplayer.
So we're not gonna have split screen multiplayer on PC for launch, but it's absolutely something the team's excited about exploring post-launch.
Delay the game then, because if we can't get a complete game at launch, the expectations of what should be there at launch, delay it. Miyamoto is right. A delayed game comes out eventually. A bad game only has one good first impression.
There's only so much that we're going to be able to action on now,
Yeah.
but that's the beauty of being a live service.
Yeah, absolutely. I think,
See, that's where I get annoyed. It just goes to, oh, we're a live service. Like, that is the crutch that some of these games live on. And that's the buzzword that annoys me. Whenever there's issues, oh, well, we're a live service. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're a live service or not. Even people that are super positive about 343 Industries and their games have said to me privately that they do not believe that 343 has ever shipped a 100% complete game at launch. I'm tired of buzzwords. I'm tired of them finding ways to make excuses for things not being ready at launch or things not being up to snuff. The one thing that I'll say about Apex is I've never heard them say that's the beauty of being a live service game and using that as a way to make excuses for it. I've never seen them do that. All I've seen them do is make progress.
we're already working on those things now. So yeah, some things won't land in a launch time frame, but some things, will just roll out over time. That's part of this Halo Infinite journey that we're kicking off.
Yeah, infinitely waiting for content that should have been there at launch. I am so scared. I'm sorry. I'm now scared of what we're going to get for multiplayer game modes. I'm worried about how many maps we're going to have at launch.
One of the reasons that we're here today as well is I want to talk to you about the campaign side of the game, specifically campaign co-op.
Like multiplayer is this burning heart of Halo, campaign co-op is fundamental to the Halo experience as well.
And here comes the big news.
Unfortunately, as we focused the team for shutdown and really focused on a quality experience for launch, we made the really tough decision to delay shipping campaign co-op for launch. And we also made the tough call to delay shipping Forge past launch as well.
Okay, you just talked for a solid minute there about the importance of campaign co-op. If it's so goddamn important, delay the game. But we know why you won't. We know why. Because Microsoft is right now losing their shit. You put yourself in a fucking hell of a situation. You've been on this game for 6 years developing it. And now we're hearing that co-op campaign won't be ready at launch 4 months before launch, maybe even sooner than that. Actually, no, it's only about 3-4 months away from launch. And I know what people are going to say. Well, it's a games as a service. This is the $60 retail game we're talking about, not the games as a service free to play game. I'm sorry. Not cool with it. Not cool. Forge, here's the thing. I kind of understood if Forge was delayed because they're always improving the sandbox and it's always been an improved experience. I'm sorry. Like, I know that there's people in my chat and friends of mine that are trying to be understanding about where they're coming from. I'm sorry. Unless you have some perfect explanation, or I don't know how you would turn that around on me. I really don't, because I don't see any way because it's unacceptable. It's not okay.
We're going to keep campaign co-op and Forge in the oven for a little bit longer, and then when they're ready, we're going to release them as part of our seasonal roadmap next year.
This reminds me so much of Halo 5 right now. This reminds me so much of Halo 5, the way they're talking about this, their seasonal roadmap. Do you guys remember what they did with Halo 5 every couple of months? They would come up with a video and have all these cool things and content that they were bringing to Halo 5 Guardians. Do you guys remember that? All those little videos of, hey, we're getting infection, we're getting oddball. That's gonna be the season 2 video. You're gonna have multiple Master Chiefs running in Halo Infinite campaign. You're gonna have monitors flying around for season 3. This is concerning. This is unacceptable.
Awkward. We're talking about things that are in for launch, and
Right.
frankly, we don't have an official public launch date yet.
That is true. That is true.
But I did want to just reconfirm, and as we heard Phil Spencer, I think he made a reference recently, this game is definitely, we're committed to releasing this holiday.
Yes.
And we're pretty close, I think, to we're just working through some details right now on kind of what that real date is, right?
That is understandable. You know why? From what I know, because I haven't looked, and I said this in my last video, I haven't looked at what happened with COD in their announcement yesterday with I don't think there was a date. They are going to have the date now. Maybe in a week or so, maybe during the vlog coming at the end of the month, we will get a date. We will more than likely get a date, an official release date, because they're waiting for COD. I have a feeling now that COD has done its big reveal and we have seen what they have to offer, and once we get an official release date of COD, we will get a date for Halo Infinite. It just all depends on where a bunch of the big releases for holiday land this year. That's why I'm not upset about them saying we don't have a release date yet. They're playing it smart. I don't know. This is going to make headlines. Co-op's a big deal to a lot of people. I know that it doesn't break the game. It doesn't like make it unplayable, but it's still a purchasing factor to a lot of people in the Halo community. It may not be to some, but to a good few, it's tradition. It's important. So are we going to wait like 3 months for it to come in and then buy it? Guess what? They're just going to buy it used. They're going to buy it when your game goes on sale. They aren't going to day one it.
So as we look at beyond launch, beyond this holiday at our seasonal roadmap, what kind of timing should we be thinking about in terms of co-op and Forge coming to Halo Infinite?
What we're targeting is to ship campaign co-op in Season 2, and then we're targeting to ship Forge in Season 3. And I know as we talk about
Season 2 and Season 3, why is the co-op campaign in the roadmap? The co-op campaign has nothing to do with your free-to-play service game. You've been telling us for months they are separate. You don't have to buy the $60 retail release for the multiplayer. Why is it that it is tied to your roadmap? Delay the game. Okay, better yet, release the multiplayer, delay the campaign. That's a better idea. Give us the multiplayer if it's complete. Delay the actual campaign and story, because you're gonna lose sales like crazy.
Speaking of things taking a little more time,
Yeah.
I have to ask, as you and the team were reviewing the status of co-op and Forge, was there ever discussion about potentially delaying the entire game and taking more time to get these in first?
I like how quick he was like, yep, do it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about doing that, but where we landed was, Halo Infinite is a live game, so it isn't really ever done. You know what I mean? It's
It's never really done. That pissed me off. Did Phil Spencer text you to say that?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about doing that, but
Can't wait.
Where we landed was, Halo Infinite is a live game, so it isn't really ever done.
That's another thumbnail right there. And also, here's the issue. Your campaign is not a live games as a service. Your multiplayer is. Your campaign is a $60 retail release unless you use Game Pass. But here's the thing. There's a lot of people on PC that hate the Microsoft Store, don't want to use its UI, and want to use Steam or whatever platform they want. What are you going to do from them?
It's going to progress and evolve from season to season. We talk about launch being the beginning of that journey, but to have a beginning, you need to pick a moment and actually begin.
When the game's ready. Your team's fucking quotes years ago, it's ready when it's ready. It's done when it's done. Okay, Hazop. I just want to, like I just said this. I want you to know that I respect you. But I have a feeling we're gonna agree to disagree, my friend. But go ahead and say your piece.
I was actually going to say that I didn't disagree with you on the subject of it being unacceptable.
Okay.
I fully and completely 100% agree with that, because as far as I think I've mentioned it before, but my case of like Halo co-op was always with my friend. It's part of the reason why I'm called Hazop.
Yeah.
So co-op is a big part to me. My problem with this whole thing, right?
Okay.
Is it comes down to those basically the three main points that you mentioned before. The expectations thing, which at this point I don't see 343 as anything special. They're not. They're just like they're literally just another game, another company developing another game in this shit show of an industry that can never seem to get jack shit right. And when they do, it's a fucking miracle.
Right. There's those
Unfazed.
golden opportunities where someone comes out with a game and it is spectacular. Everything is a go. Everything is 100% perfect. People are raving, ranting, and saying this is the best thing since sliced fucking bread.
So that's my whole thing on expectations. Nothing special. Just another game that where shit finally decided to go wrong, because that seems to happen everywhere else. Not surprised.
It seems to happen quite considerably with Halo, because I remember the same kind of scenario happening with Halo 5, where right near launch we started hearing the downside of a lot of things. We started hearing, oh, this won't be there at launch. Oh, we decided to scrap this. You know, this is starting to get that Halo 5 taste. It's not fully, but I'm starting to taste a little bit sourness whenever Halo Infinite leaves my mouth.
Again, don't get me wrong. It's unacceptable that the campaign co-op thing is not going to be at launch, in my opinion, for reasons stated before. My problem with all this is how this is souring the entire experience rather than the section it actually impacts. You guys were right to be angry, which I did say. You guys are right to be angry. Yeah. Everyone is. I'm ticked too. I wouldn't say that this impacts my perception of what I think the multiplayer will likely be, and I'm very neutral on all of it.
Well, and here's the thing. Again, what we played during the flight seems like a very solid multiplayer. I'm gonna have to wait and see now what is gonna be there, because we don't know.
It was ultimately a very small snippet of what could either be a couple more snippets like that or a whole fucking pizza.
Yeah.
But it's one of those cases of this case over here, unless they come out and say that, you know, this is what we're going to have in the multiplayer at launch and it's less than what we were expecting, then I'll rightly be like, okay, yeah, that's fucked. But until we get that sort of news, I'm not going to make any judgments on whether the multiplayer has been impacted or not.
Yeah, no, and that's respectable. Launch the multiplayer if it's ready. Like they've said in the past, it's ready when it's ready, it's done when it's done. Launch if it's ready. And the problem is, though, is when they would bring up it's a games as a service, it evolves over time. That word is starting to leave a bad feeling in my gut. It's
frustrating to me that it's more of a terminology thing. And it actually got on my nerves when you called it a buzzword, because in a sense it's not, because buzzwords tend to have no meaning.
The thing for me is that when it comes to the whole thing, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right in that my terminology there was wrong. My bad. My correction. I can own up to that. Using that as a way to avoid the situation in a way and say, well,
is a crutch. Yeah, right. It's stupid. Don't get me wrong there.
Right.
My problem with the subject comes from more of not only your phrasing, but their phrasing. They probably shouldn't say it like that, because it's only just going to piss people off. You.
Yeah.
The last concept I want to bring up was the whole it's ready when it's ready thing. This is actually what made me scream. Scream at my screen. It's one of those things that they've said it, and honestly, I think they would love to keep to it, but as you said before, Microsoft won't let them. And that's the real tragedy here. This game could be the most amazing thing ever, but remember the stakeholders, the steak memes that popped up a little bit ago?
Yeah.
That's the corporate leaking in. And I don't know if that was intentional or not. If he intentionally snuck that in there, just be like, help.
Like, the gun is aimed at my head. I'm going to die. Please help. Send help. I've been locked in here since the live stream. I'm wearing the same jacket and clothes and hat. Help.
There's obviously a big corporate weight over their head. And I would absolutely love it if they delayed the game and made sure all this came out perfectly at launch. Like you said, summer 2022 would be a perfect time for them to just jump on everything where no other games are coming out. The sad part is we can scream at them and yell at them and throw DMs and videos in their direction as much as we want, telling them to delay it. I don't think it's going to change anything, because it's not them that are in charge of that. It's ultimately whoever. I wouldn't say it's if it's Phil Spencer setting the deadlines and stuff like that. I doubt this is going to change anything. If there's someone above Phil Spencer, which again I wouldn't know. I don't pay enough attention to these corporate hierarchies and stuff like that to actually know who the top dogs are. If it's coming from somewhere higher up, it's not going to get delayed, unfortunately. And this is our steak. We've got to eat this stupid steak, and it's going to come out undercooked.
What you've got right now, right? And this is again asinine scenario. You've got Phil Spencer dressed up as Darth Vader. And you got Bill Gates sitting in a chair up on the fucking Microsoft Death Star in the shape of the Microsoft Windows logo. And he's sitting there in his chair with a like sipping on his water that was made out of shit and so on and so forth, that he turned from shit to water, drinking, saying good, more power, unlimited power. And
Right,
that's what you've got going on. And you've got the poor Joseph Stain dressed up as one of these commanders, and Phil Spencer turns around and force chokes the shit out of him when he just got started.
What happened to Chris Lee, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Same thing. He was fucking he was Admiral Ozzel at the beginning of Empire.
Yes.
Just, Admiral Ozzel came out of light speed too close to the system, chokes him. And now we have no idea what happened to Chris Lee.
And now you've got Joseph Stain standing right next to his dead body. He's like,
yeah,
okay,
he's Admiral Piet.